And we're headed into Labor Day weekend in the Canadian Football League, and joining us to talk about it is the Commissioner of the CFL, the esteemed Randy Ambrosie. It's been far too long. We're going to jump right into it. Mr. Ambrosie, welcome to the RP Show. How are you, Randy?
I'm doing great, Rod. How are you?
Good. We're going to jump right into it because I know you're a busy guy. A lot of things to get to. I want to ask you your take on the Nathan Rourke situation, if you don't mind. Waived by the Jaguars. Do you have any information? Because all the fans are writing in about what's he going to make down there? Will he come back to the CFL? How closely are you following that situation of your most outstanding Canadian from last year?
Yeah, we're certainly watching it, Rod. Look, all you want to do is wish that young man the very best, and you want him to, realize all of his dreams. He is a special person. He's a special player, and we want the very best from him for him. If he happens to find his way back into our league, we will be absolutely thrilled. But Rod, for all of these athletes, and frankly, just in general, all athletes, around, you want them to achieve their very best. And we certainly, that holds true with Nathan.
I agree. And so, Nathan's got his eye on the CFL matchups, including his old team, the Lions. I always laugh. Labor Day weekend, BC and Montreal are the two cousins people forgot about on this particular weekend. So they got together as dance partners years ago, and that's a pretty good matchup on Friday night to kick off Labor Day Classic weekend, BC at Montreal. I'm sure you feel every game's great.
Yeah, but Rod, this weekend has got a special feel to it. And you're absolutely right. This is a great way to kick off Labor Day because, BC got to get back on the winning track, going into Montreal, who have been playing very well. I think it's a very interesting matchup and just a spectacular way to kick things off. That's going to take us into Regina on Sunday. Yeah, the Riders coming off a great win at home, playing at home against the Bombers. I've led to believe the Riders and the Bombers don't like each other that much. I've certainly been, following some of that rumor mill.
How about that?
And then you go into Labor Day out west with Calgary and Edmonton, and of course, Edmonton now, having won 2 in a row, winning at home, getting kind of off of that issue. Calgary playing exceptionally well in Toronto on Friday. I mean, that was one of the greatest games of the season so far. And then, of course, go to Hamilton now. Hamilton, back winning against a very strong Toronto. And again, those two teams, I'm telling you, just by rumor, don't like each other very much. So it's got the makings of one of the best Labor Day weekends in recent memory.
Do you know any CFL teams that do like each other, Randy?
Well, look, I think off the field, perhaps they like each other more than they do on, Rod. But you know the drill. Once they suit it up, when you put your hand in the dirt, it's kind of your job not to like the guy or guys across the way from you. So, yeah, I guess that's a fair point.
No, I'm teasing you, of course. But listen, as the commissioner, but alum of what? Edmonton, Calgary. You're from Winnipeg. Who else did you play for? Those
I
two?
played in Toronto.
Was there more?
Yeah, Toronto.
Okay. So do you find yourself, it's just you and me, Randy, don't worry about what anybody says, cheering for any teams? Like, for instance, when Edmonton had the long streak going, were you pulling for them? Not just as alum, but to end this thing?
Look, Rod, you can't be human and detach yourself from those things that were so important to you. But in the end, look, I'm just a fan of the game, as I know you are, and you just want good things to happen for the league. You want good things to happen for the teams. Certainly, I think it's good for the CFL that Edmonton is kind of back winning again. That's really good for us. It's but if we can get 48 with 30 seconds left to go in every game, I think we'll all win. So I'm more a fan of great games. But Rod, you're right. You can't detach yourself completely from your own history. But in the end, I just want really good games, and I want the players to get off the field healthy and happy.
Right. Great answer. But I know how important your years in Edmonton were and your relationship with Ron Lancaster. I also know that's ancient history, too. That's why I was just interested how closely you were following that particular situation. Now, you're here to promote Labor Day weekend. I got to ask you how you feel about the phrase, it's the unofficial kickoff to the CFL season. because that always ticked me off. I'm like, hey, everybody, you missed a lot of great football. Like, how do you feel about that phrase?
Well, you know what? What's interesting is there is no doubt in my mind, as you know, there's preseason and there's a level of intensity. It's not like the players aren't playing hard, but there's a certain reality to preseason. Then you start the regular season, everyone's playing super hard. But Rod, there's something about the Labor Day weekend that feels like everything is just more important. Like you kind of look at your position in the standings, and you start to see either you've got to start to win lots of games to kind of get back in the dance, or you got to stay on the winning way. I just think there's always been a feeling, and certainly was for me playing on those Labor Day games, which I did, throughout my career. There just felt like it was something was more important about them. It's inexplicable, but it was true. And so while I don't think it's the kickoff of the second season, I think there is something about Labor Day that's really special in our league. And this is going to be a really special weekend, and it's the OK Tire Labor Day weekend. And thanks to our friends at OK Tire. But Rod, I just think we're in for some special football.
Well, they are special, and I hope the teams are picking up on what you're saying, because in Sask, you wouldn't think Danny Barrett would know a lot about Canadiana per se, but when he was coaching us for 7 years, he brought in alum and spoke on that weekend to the team. He didn't do that every game, but he did it Labor Day weekend. And I think your first season was 2017, was it not? You came out and rode a combine. What was that like, Randy?
Sorry, I did. Yeah, that's right. You know what? It was, I did come out and ride a combine. You know, Rod, there's so much about our league, and this is something, again, I know you understand. On the field, it's three things. It's fun, fast, and entertaining. I think in those three dimensions, fun, fast, and entertaining, I think we compete and beat any football in the world. Off the field, it's community. And our connection to these communities and the players' connection to the communities. And you get to be in this job, Rod, and you get to come into a stadium and you feel like, I feel this sense of responsibility to be what I think our league has been so good at for decades, and that connection. And then you get invited to go be part of the community. And that year, you're absolutely right, great memory. I got to go meet a family who are run a family farm in Saskatchewan. And I got to ride a combine and meet these remarkable people. Rod, I'm going to tell you something. Fun, fast, and entertaining combined with riding a combine. I don't know that it gets any better than that.
I remember it well, and you did pretty well dressing like a farmer, as I recall, too. Hey, the CFL is my favorite league, too, although here now I'm going to NFL, college, and high school. Just the game itself is fantastic, which popped into my head. The state of the game of football seems pretty good. It went through some knocks, but from what I understand, attendance is up across the nation. All good things for the sport of football, from what I understand.
Yeah, it is, Rod. And, it's not just the general picture is positive. Look, I think just first of all, let's say that 3-4 years ago, we were talking about concerns about our major markets. And look what's happened. When we write the book on 2023, it's going to start with the change of ownership in Montreal with Pierre-Karl Paladot. And when Pierre-Karl stepped in, we now have a long-term committed owner who's from the community. That's a game-changing moment in Montreal. And while they suffered a little bit in free agency, look how well that team has responded to the challenge of, kind of representing their new owner. I think it's been brilliant, and a big shout out to Danny Machocha and everything that they've done in Montreal around putting a great football team on the field. Go to the other side of the country with Amar Doman and what Amar has been doing in BC. But another really great story is what's happening in Toronto. And, I always feel like you got to give credit where credit's due. A real shout out to Bill Manning and Chris Schufeld and Michael Clements and the entire Toronto Argonauts organization, because that's a really good football team. And if you watched that game last Friday night, that was an exciting game to watch. And there was an excitement in that stadium. It was a great crowd. So just a real change there, but just generally everything that we've been working towards, building that marketing platform, building that social media strategy, and our level of connection to our fans has never been higher. And we're starting to see really good things happen across the country. And then, of course, as you and I have been talking about, you get to celebrate Labor Day weekend and all that means to the CFL. So, Rod, right now we are feeling very good about the state of football. College football is now just starting up. Junior football and amateur football. There'll be a lot of kids out there playing our great games. So for lots of really good reasons, Rod, we have there's lots to talk about and lots of opportunity to be excited about the state of our game.
No doubt, and nobody talks more CFL than us. That's a fact. We talk about it every day on this show. Now, I don't know, like Mark Cohan and I were really close, and I think he would agree. His legacy was renaissance of the league, new stadiums, packed stadiums. I'm wondering for yours, you could already say, got the league through COVID, stable ownership in those two markets, but I think you'd really like a 10th team. Hey, before the gun sounds, any reason why it's not Moncton? Drummond told me, but I can't remember why. You and I were together at Touchdown Atlantic in 2019. Great stadium, great city. Why is that not an option for the CFL?
Yeah, Rod, it's not been dismissed. For lots of very good reasons. There's a feeling that Halifax would be an ideal location in Atlantic Canada. That's where we have been having most of our conversations. Look, I have reached out to Mayor Arnold in Moncton, is a wonderful mayor and a really good person. And we've had some, conversations. We certainly haven't dismissed a conversation with them. But there seems to be a lot of energy around Halifax right now. And Rod, we have even with the disruption in COVID, we've made some real progress. And there's some genuine, very authentic interest in that community from real strong community leaders that want to see us bring that 10th team there. I think we've moved the ball down the field, but you and I both know you can get in the red zone if you're down by 5 points, but it doesn't matter unless you actually score. And I think we're either in the red zone or close to it around our 10th franchise. But now it's getting real. And now we got to see a few things happen. But there's reason for optimism. And certainly I've got great support from the governors to continue to step on the gas here and see if we can't get this across the finish line.
Hey, I get it. You got inside the 10 and COVID caused a turnover. How about that? So you had to start over again because I knew how close you were. And yes, that sucks. Well, I appreciate that explanation. Anything else, Randy, before we let you go?
Rod, just to say a big shout out to our fans. We've talked about the players and the teams and the state of our game. We talked about, look, we're firing on all cylinders with great sponsors. OK Tire this weekend. Our friends at Purolator, of course, will be, continuing to fuel those food banks. We can never say enough about them. We've got great sponsors. Old Dutch, is out there with a great. So every one of our great sponsors, but you got to come back to the fans. And it's what makes us special. And this weekend, I think we're going to see, big stadiums filled with people having fun, sitting next to a neighbor, Argos fans sitting next to Ticat fans, having a cold beer, Bomber fans sitting next to Rider fans, Elks fans sitting next to Stampeder fans. It's what really, in the end, makes us so special is the strength of our fans. So I just say a shout out to all of them, wishing everyone a happy Labor Day weekend. The best from the CFL to this entire nation of ours, and looking forward to, watching some football together and having fun as we march toward Grey Cup. And Rod, last thought, Grey Cup in Hamilton's going to be special this year. They have got big plans, the introduction of a Niagara Falls element and the Niagara region. Come and drink some ice wine, visit Niagara Falls. I'm so excited about the Ticats of planning for Grey Cup. So to anyone who's been a Grey Cupper or anyone who hasn't been a Grey Cupper, come to Hamilton. It's going to be special.
I appreciate you saying that because not a lot of leagues do value the fans or appreciate them and show it. And CFL always has. Randy, thanks for this. Good luck with everything.
Take care, Rod. Good seeing you again.
For sure. The Commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Randy Ambrosie.